I'm an architectural photographer, and I also teach photography. I'm also a veteran. I spent 3 years, 3 months and 10 days in the Army. Not that I was counting, but I served during the Cold War era in Germany, on the East German border. After the Army, I went into a whole career of international nonprofit organizations. I worked for CARE for a number of years overseas in Colombia and Panama. I worked for other international nonprofit organizations and basically did a career as a senior administrative officer in the nonprofit field. Enjoyed that very much, but then about 20 years ago, a good job that I had here in Washington got eliminated due to budget cuts. And so I decided to take up my hobby of photography and make it my profession. I wasn't physically handicapped at the time, but my handicap was age. I was 60 years old at the time, and it's not that easy to find another job at that age in the international nonprofit sector as a senior executive. So I thought that if I could take up my hobby and make some money from it, that I would do that. When I became a photographer, my salaried income had been going up nicely like this for about 35 years, and then I became a photographer and it went down 90% in 1996. It took me about 8 years to recover from what I had been earning, and that was the downside. The upside was that in only 8 years I was earning what it had taken me 35 years to earn as a salaried executive. So when you're in business for yourself, I guess the basic message, when you're in business for yourself, if you're doing a good job and making some money, you can earn at a faster rate than you can when you're on a salary. And I took a picture of my apartment building, and the owner of the building liked it so much he used it in their ad in the local apartment magazine. When I came up here, I went to the Washington Post. They were publishing a magazine called Apartment Showcase, which you now see on all street corners and metro stops, which show all those apartment buildings. And you'll find my name on the masthead. I've been their photographer for 20 years, doing all the about 2,500 apartments in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So I'm the guy who makes those places look a lot nicer than they really are. That's what photographers do. We do, just as a portrait photographer would do a portrait of a person and get the makeup and everything else done. An apartment photographer does the nicest possible job on making the building look as nice as possible without using Photoshop. I'm not allowed to use Photoshop to put in things that don't exist, but I do put in the flowers and the trees that are around there, and I wait for a nice sunny day with the white puffy clouds. All of that makes the building look a lot nicer. So, so that got me started in what we'd call architectural photography. I then started doing a lot of the attractions here in Washington, the monuments and the buildings and the historical places, and sold pictures of those places to the local postcard companies. So you'll find my name on, you wonder who is that masked man who does the postcards in this town? You'll find my name on the back of a lot of postcards here in the DC area. And so I set up something called the Washington Photo Safari, and I take people now around the monuments in DC and show them how to use their cameras. And I've been doing that for 18 years. I've trained about 35,000 people, a couple of them are here today, on how to improve their technique with their own cameras. Lots of people have nice cameras and don't know how to use them. They paid $600 for the camera and only use $100 worth of the features. So I teach them how to use all the features of the camera and how to get the nicest possible images when they travel. It's wonderful to record things when you travel and get nice pictures, but you want to know how to use your camera to do it, whether it's a phone or a camera. Lots of people are using phones now, which are excellent, but cameras do even more than phones, and if you do have a camera, it's wonderful to learn how to get the best possible pictures, how to use all the features of the camera, the f-stops and the shutter speeds and the manual mode and the flash and the white balance, all the things that cameras do. This is a beautiful city. It's got fantastic views, and it's got wonderful buildings and monuments and sites and museums, most of which are free. And it's a great place to take pictures and a great place to learn photography. So as a way of just sort of setting up a business, that was the kind of business that worked for me. And I guess the bottom line is that you want to find something, as I did, that you enjoy doing, because then when you're working at it, it doesn't seem like work. It seems like fun that you're getting paid for. And that's the nice thing about being your own boss, when you are doing something that you really do enjoy, and also getting paid for it as well. I found the business to be very interesting. I meet a lot of people from all over the world, people in different professions, from all walks of life, and that is really what makes the job so enjoyable. I teach 4 or 5 times a week, usually weekends and evenings, and we have something that's going on pretty much every weekend all year long in terms of different kinds of photography, portrait and nature and abstracts and architecture and nighttime photography. We do our teaching in the field. While you're taking the picture, I'm beating up on you and helping you make a better picture. Instead of critiquing your picture 2 weeks after you've taken it and say, Vince, it's too dark, it's too light, you've got the color wrong, there's not much you can do about it because you're not there anymore. But while you're still there, you can fix it. And so we'll do safaris in National Cathedral, for example, the beautiful stained glass windows of the cathedral, making sure you get the color just right on the windows of the cathedral. And if you don't, then I help you fix it right there. I market mainly through the website. Most people find things now through Google, and they'll type in, how do I learn photography? What about photography workshops in Washington, photography instruction? So that usually through Google, people find me, and then a lot of word of mouth. I've had 35,000 people that I've trained, and 10,000 of them are repeat clients. They've been back for 2 or more of the safaris, and they do talk to other people, and that helps to get the word of mouth is a big factor as well. A little bit of advertising, but mainly word of mouth and the website. You want to be able to provide for your family. We all want to do that, to provide for yourself and your family. And there I was facing not having a job, still having a daughter in college, and having rent and other expenses to pay, and a heavy credit card debt. So what do? And it was quite a bit of sadness and depression, and you feel when you're let go from a job due to budget constraints, you feel as though you haven't been recognized for the worth that you have, and that's depressing, and there's not much you can do about it except try to pick yourself up and go along and do something else, because there's not much of an alternative. So that's what I did. I became a photographer, and I guess the main driving force is you just have to have confidence in yourself. You have to know that what you're doing is the right thing. If people don't hire you, it's their loss, not yours. That you know that you're good at what you do, and that you can continue on the path, because otherwise you can get easily depressed and not do anything at all. So and then to make it enjoyable is what keeps you going day after day. So I'm 81 years old now. I should be dead according to most actuarial studies, but I'm still going along very well, and I have to keep working, because when you work in the nonprofit field, you don't get much of a retirement money. I do have Social Security, but other than that, I still need the income to pay the rent. So that's why I keep on working. And I'm sure I'm going to collapse one day on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and they'll say he died doing what he loves. It is a secret blessing when you get screwed over like that, because you have to kind of pick yourself up and do it. And nobody else is going to do it for you. It has to come from within. There's no question about it.